With just one game left in the NFL season, Joe Douglas has decided to cut ties with edge rusher Shaq Lawson. How does this impact the Jets offseason, and how much salary cap space do we have to spend?
Jets, Jets!
All right, welcome in. My name is Ryan. I'll be your pilot. If you're new here, hit that subscribe button. If you've been here before, welcome back. I love having you here. Boys and girls, we're talking a little bit of off-season, mock off-season cuts / cap space / signings, and I'm all sorts of excited. So the New York Jets decided to cut ties with Shaq Lawson, a move that frees up $9 million in salary cap space. So I wanted to talk a little bit about it, see what the Jets could do with that money, how much salary cap space they have, and what type of repercussions we might see over the course of the offseason. So, like I said, $9 million was saved from cutting Shaq Lawson today. According to Tom Pelissero, he says all waiver claims are deferred until after the Super Bowl starting today, so any player claimed is ineligible to play in the postseason, which more than likely means Shaq Lawson, with his cap hit, is not going to be picked up on waivers, meaning he will clear waivers. However, if a player clears waivers, he can sign with any team and play. This is what happened last year with running back Devonta Freeman. Now, I do expect Shaq Lawson to go through the waiver process out onto the other side, and the Jets will either try to add him to the practice squad, although I guess you can't really add him to the practice squad. They can either try to sign him to a cheaper deal now, if they want, or he can go out and wind up signing with a contender or someone of that nature. We wound up bringing in Shaq Lawson after Carl Lawson, oddly enough, same last name, winds up going down with a torn Achilles. Shaq Lawson on the year had 23 tackles. That is the lowest since his rookie campaign. He had 5 quarterback hits. In the last 3 years, he had 18, 18, and 12. So this is by far the lowest he has had. And he did have the 1 interception. That was, I think, our first interception of the year, if I'm not mistaken, because defensive lineman's ringing a bell right now. So how do the Jets kind of replace that sort of production? Is it really an issue, or is it not? Look, the Jets are going to be getting Carl Lawson back next year. He is going to be starting at one of our edge positions, and we just paid John Franklin Myers a ton of money. So between him, Quinnen Williams, Sheldon Rankins, you got a bunch of guys on the defensive line, in addition to the edge rushers we're going to look to bring in. The Jets did wind up cutting Vinny Curry, I believe it was yesterday, or 2 days ago now. Whatever it was. He had a blood disorder, so he wasn't going to be back next year anyway. So ultimately what this move implies is the Jets are going to be looking for an edge rusher this offseason. Now, a lot of us at that number 4 pick in the first round are going to be looking for an edge rusher. Someone like Kayvon Thibodeau, Aiden Hutchinson, if either one of them are there, or someone like George Karlaftis, or maybe a David Ojabo or someone along those lines. So edge is going to be a big area of need for the New York Jets. You got to have multiple edges. I would like to sign 2. Mainly draft 1, sign 1 would be ideal. Now, what does this look like in terms of cap space? Like I said, the move saves $9 million. The Jets had about $13.7 million in rollover that can come over to go along with $47.2 that they already had. So doing this move and some of the other moves like Curry and Niesman and I guess whatever else we've done as of the last few days, we're sitting right around $71 million in salary cap space. Now, there is still a lot of money that the Jets could actually sort of make up and spend in free agency if they so choose. Now, you could move on from Connor McGovern. That's $9 million if you decided to take someone like a Linderbaum or a Patterson in maybe the 2nd or 3rd round. Those are, an area you could go and you could save a whole bunch of money by McGovern being cut. But obviously, I really like what we got from McGovern this year. I would like to retain him as our center at the very worst case scenario. Maybe you move him over to guard if you do draft one, or you let him kind of be the starter in place of the rookie. Other guys that seem to make a little bit more sense to cut, guys like Greg Van Roten will save you 3.5, Ryan Griffin will save you 3.5, and if you wanted to move on from Sheldon Rankins, you could at $5.5 million, which means the Jets could have close to like $90 million in cap space by the time all is said and done. Now, I do expect the Jets to be somewhere around that $78 million range because I don't think they move on from either Rankins or Connor McGovern. Now, so if you have If you have $78 million, what are you going to spend that on? That's the exciting part, right? Like, everyone wants to have all the money in the world so you could go out and spend it on all the different free agents. Well, it's a little different than in years past. Normally, I say you need about $10 to $13 million to sign your draft class. Well, the Jets have 2 top 10 picks, and they have 2 second-round picks, a third-round pick, 2 fourths, 2 fifths. So because of all that draft capital, the Jets are actually going to have to devote $20 million to signing their draft class. So realistically, their effective cap space that they do have that they'll be able to spend on free agents is going to be somewhere around $50 to $60 million. $58 million is kind of what we're projecting here. Now, that would be second most in this free agent class, assuming there's some rollover from some of the other teams as well. So the Jets are going to be sitting very, very pretty by the time free agency rolls around. So some guys you can kind of take a look at. Are the Jets going to go out and maybe sign a free agent? Do they try to make a trade for someone that's coming up in the final year of their deal? Do you look to bring in an edge rusher in free agency versus the draft? It's going to be really interesting, and I'm going to put together a few mock-off seasons over the course of the next few weeks. And it's going to be interesting to see how this could play out, because there's a lot of different routes you can go. When you have as many draft picks as the Jets have, you really have a whole lot of options as it comes to player acquisition. So overall, I think this move makes a ton of sense. It was a move that I think a lot of us saw coming. So yeah, let me know what you think down below in the comments. How do you want to spend all this cap space that we're going to wind up having? Are you upset that the Jets moved on from Shaq Lawson? Do you think he winds up coming back on a vet minimum deal or some type of restructured contract? I guess not restructured, it would be a new contract. But what do you think? Let me know in the comments down below. And as always, go Jets.
Jets!